The matchup for Super Bowl 60 is set, and sadly, the Broncos will not be returning to the place where they won Super Bowl 50. Chris Harris and I break down the championship game loss for the Broncos and everything else going on in the NFL as Football Fridays starts now. Chris, I know we're tight on time because you've got a busy day working with guys getting ready for the NFL draft, but I wanted to tell you because I was racing to the studio and there's a train track about 6 blocks from here. And so every now and then you get caught on it. It's just a, regular like cargo train, just part of the deal. And the arms come down. I'm like, damn it. Text the studio. And about 30 seconds go by, maybe a minute, the arms go up, no train. And you've never seen cars. It was a Hummer, a couple pickup trucks that are like creeping, like, because no one wants to get that wrong. Like, are they just testing the arms or what happened with the signal? So everything was fine. But yeah, you want to talk about creeping and being glad you're not the first car, being glad you're second or third in line.
Man, you hear about, there's a lot of train accidents happen more than what you expect.
Yeah, I feel like some of it is, it's got to either be signal malfunction or people are dumb and like, oh, we can beat it. But that's probably more likely because we know we're full of dummies in this country. Well, I don't want to call them dummies, but there was certainly some questionable calls to a couple plays where it's weird. You try to boil down a game to a single play, like the Malcolm Butler interception. Is that the reason that the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl? Yes and no, but that's rare in a game. With the Broncos, though, the Stidham fumble and more importantly, the 4th and 1 have been the most talked about, specifically the decision to go for it on 4th and 1. So give me your initial thoughts or your thoughts, because I haven't talked to you since last Friday, on the Broncos' disappointing loss in a game that was there for the taking.
When you lose those type games, they stay with you for a long time. And especially when you lose, you got the game in control. You're dominating the first half, playing solid football. But, we didn't take the points when we needed to. That turns to a turnover. Not being able to execute to the end of half situations. Being able to, not be able to run the football and the way that you need to be able to run in the playoffs. It's just a lot of things just mounted up. But the Broncos had a good season. Nobody expected those guys to go this far, with the dead cap and everything. So they exceeded all expectations. And next year, they got a lot of money to play with, and you expect them to be right back in the contention.
Yeah, and I guess I made a statement without asking a question, but let's talk about the decision on 4th and 1, because Tyler Columbus and I are in the minority as far as not hating the aggressiveness. Both hated the play call, and Sean Payton said as much he hated the play call too. We're going to hear from Sean in a second. But where'd you come down at that point? Broncos defense was playing really well. You'd gotten the touchdown, and at 4th and 1, if you pick up the first down and potentially get those 7 more points, you're up 14-0. So break it all down as far as where your head's at when they get to that point at 4th and 1.
Well, you have a backup quarterback in, and it's 4th and 1, and the look that they gave just wasn't a good look. I would have seen it. And once we got to see it, I would have called timeout, regrouped on it, and then probably came out there and kicked the field goal. The look just wasn't good. They had a 6-man front. D-line was loaded up front. So it's going to be hard to run the ball. Everybody knows that Sean Payton's signature play is a boot to the right or some type of play action to the right to hit the guy in the flat. They've done it all year. Of course, the Patriots, Mike Vrabel is going to be ready for it. They had a great plan, but, the look just they didn't get the right type of defense to be able to go for 4th and 1, not with the play call they had. And, I would have regrouped, called a timeout. Let's get them points because, in playoff games, 10 points is a lot. As a defense, we're good with that. And the way that they were playing at that time, I would try to make the Patriots score 10 points.
And so even if you don't get that and you don't have the Stidham fumble, you might win that game 7-3 or 7-6. Yeah. Well, here, because we'll get to the film room here in just a minute. Let's look at the play, though, and kind of point out to us where you talked about the front and then what the Patriots are able to do.
All the guys they got up front. All the big boys are up front. So
they're ready to play a dive at least with no fullback. Yeah. They're ready to play a dive.
right? But they have a corner sitting in the flat. So it's like a bear / cover 2.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, guys? You
Well,
see 2 guys playing the flat. You have 1 guy playing the middle. So it's like an X.
Yeah.
Right. 2 guys safeties, 1 guy in the middle, 2 corners in the flat, which is a great concept if you know that a team does boots and rollouts all game. And you know Sean Payton, what they do, they scored on a boot for a touchdown earlier. They're ready for it. You see the corner, he bounces out. All the D line is going straight there. The play fake didn't even matter.
No.
Now you see what happens. You get a PBU. So I would have liked us to call timeout right there. The look wasn't good. Let's regroup and let's get them points.
Yeah, well, and why talk about the aggressiveness of the play call? Obviously, you see that penetration from their D line, but you had just picked up short yardage, a first down with Adam Prentice. I'm not saying hand it to Adam Prentice. I'm saying have him in there. Even go Troutman tush push and run that play like you have a couple times. I'm okay with that. But you want to deflate another team or demoralize them and pick up that extra yard because you still would have only been on the 16. You might have been kicking a field goal anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's maybe another way to look at it too. All right, well, let's hear Sean Payton. This is Tuesday when he met the media 2 days after that play call. And it's going to be a long offseason for Sean Payton, I think, when he looks back to the opportunity that was squandered.
Specifically to the 4th down call. I don't know which is the greater regret. The decision, certainly the play call. Back in the good old days, you used to be able to get a measurement. All right? And there was something about a measurement that did 2 things. I knew he was short, and when you look at the film, he was actually a little shorter than they marked it, but it also buys you time to think of the call you want. So we used the timeout, and I think probably what irks me more is the call more than the decision. It's still early in the game now, and we knew there was going to be flurries. Well, we have a new field for flurries here, or what can change at the basin of a mountain. But that, there are those moments where, that you wish you had back.
Yeah, he's gonna live with that all off season. On that decision, because that's usually how it goes. You always leave with that bad taste in your mouth, and that play will stick with you all year, especially as a coach. And when he says that it wasn't the play call, of course, the play call was terrible. It was everybody knew it. Like if you play in the NFL, you're high alert to that. And just seeing Sean Payton, just knowing that he made a critical mistake very early in the game. There was nothing threatening you to go for it right there. And there was nothing to threaten you to even think that the Patriots had a high-powered offense that we have to match them scoring every time, right? It's not like you're playing the prime Andy Reid and Mahomes. So just misjudged the whole way around. And when you make mistakes like that, you get beat 10-7.
Yeah, I didn't grow up here, just like you didn't grow up here. You love the Broncos more than I do. My whole family are Broncos fans. Certainly my kids are, and it's good for us when the Broncos win. I want to see the Broncos win. That loss aggravated me more than maybe any other Broncos loss because even though I knew that next week in San Fran was going to be a very busy week, which it will be for us anyway, the Broncos should be there. Like the Broncos have a really, really good roster and a good team. And yes, they were dealt a tough hand with the Bo Nix injury, which we'll get to in a second. But it stuck with me for a few days more. The only other one that comes close is when the Nuggets lost to the Timberwolves in Game 7 because I had all these plans in Dallas that weekend. And then as I've talked about, maybe not here, but my wife and I got in a huge fight on Labor Day weekend. And I was like, or Memorial Day. I'm like, I'm not even supposed to be here. The Nuggets were up 20 in Game 7. And that's kind of how it's going to feel. I mean, it'll still be a fun week. There's 6 Broncos in the Pro Bowl. A bunch of us from Grillo will be out there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But it would have been fun to get you out there and be getting ready to try to maybe steal Super Bowl 60, where they definitely would have been underdogs, but would have had, huge momentum. I mean, you've seen the Broncos lose more times than they've won. I mean, since your Broncos association and fanship has come into focus since 2011. But is this loss high on the list with you, save for Super Bowl you didn't play in what, 2014, Foxy's last game?
I'll put this one. It's probably top 5.
Well, I guess the Ravens in 2012.
Yeah, nothing to ever top that one. That's always will be number 1. For me, because I mean, I had like 5 people use that game. So
right.
that was a huge game for me, second year in the league and balling versus Anquan Bolton. And then we just lose and nobody knows what happens. So that game hurt. This game definitely was up there because it was, I think they're better than the Patriots. But at the end of the day, having to understand that Bo Nix is out, it kind of hurt after the Bills game. So, I think everybody was already hurting it prematurely. And so it's a little different situation just because you didn't have the quarterback. So I think guys will be able to, get over this fast and bounce back pretty early. So how long is it out with an ankle injury? Does he have how long is that injury?
So that's been kind of the on top of Sean Payton having to deal with this, and we're going to get to the moves he's made as a staff. He meets the media and says Bo was predisposed to that injury. Then Greg Penner meets the media on Wednesday. So that was Tuesday. Greg meets the media Wednesday and says, that he kind of tries to backpedal it a little, but doesn't get too in the weeds on it. Just saying, I'm not exactly sure what all was going on with Bo's ankle, but he's going to be really good. And I've already seen him and we feel good about it. Then Bo has a conference call. So not a Zoom press conference, not a call us all to the building, but this appears to be called by Bo, that he wanted to kind of set the record straight. And he told us a couple things. He told us that it was a simple break, a simple procedure, and he'll be back training in 4 to 6 weeks, which was going to be his normal timeline. Now, I don't know exactly what that looks like. If he starts to miss the start of OTAs and we hear that he's not on the field, then we'll know that 4 to 6 weeks just meant before he started doing some activity. Or maybe it was really that simple and they said it or put a pin in or whatever. But instead of 3-4 months or 4 to 6 months, he's saying 4 to 6 weeks. But then he also took issue, and I'm sure you saw this with Sean Payton saying that he said that, you think about the shock of the moment after the Bills game, but Sean says, he's had this a couple times in high school and college, and Bo's like, I wish you wouldn't have said that. He's like, or talk about my surgeries. In fact, he didn't even know how many surgeries I've had. And I pushed back a little. It's the Broncos' job to know his medical history, right, coming out in the draft. But nonetheless, I understand him not wanting it out on the street like that. Where do you come down on what Sean said, Greg trying to kind of backpedal it, and Bo trying to set the record straight?
Yeah, they're a little confusing on that. Did he break it before? Was it already fractured? Has he been playing on a hurt ankle? They're not being very specific on that. Bo situation is, hey, they're going to know everything about you, right? Welcome to be the quarterback in the NFL. Their track record, your injury record is, they got a full desk, right there. Greek used to have the full papers of everything, so they know everything about you, Bo. They know all your surgeries. They might have made a mistake in how they communicated it. I don't know what Sean Payton is doing on that part, but all he had to say was, hey, he had an injury, he had surgery, he's getting clean, he's on track to being ready in 4 to 6 weeks. So, but he must have a hairline fracture or something, like a small fracture in there, because 4 to 6 weeks, that's pretty fast, right? So
yeah.
So just seeing him come back, he'll be back soon. So the injury must not be as major as everybody expected. But Sean has to be, that's your quarterback, so you don't want to speak too much on him. And with injuries, take that Bill Belichick approach. That's what I would do. As being a coach, I would always try to do it in the best way he did it, because I feel like nobody ever had a jump on him. He was always secretive. We used to look at the injury report on Fridays and stuff like, what is Bill hiding over here? And so even though it's the end of the season, just always be short and sweet with the injuries.
Yeah, and Sean usually is. That's why it made it more interesting. I think because they know Bo's kind of the face of the franchise, they want to let you, like Sean wanted to let you know that it's going to be okay, but he obviously has gone about it in a way that I don't think his quarterback liked. So speaking of Sean and talking about just having maybe a rough week, he then on Tuesday after the press conference where he talks, George Payton talks, we get word that Joe Lombardi, who he's worked with for 15 years, is out as his OC, as well as Kerry Colbert, the wide receiver coach, and Addison Lynch, the second DB's coach, the assistant DB's coach to Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard's being looked at for all these jobs, and Addison Lynch is getting fired. Feels like that's a pretty big break. And then on top of that, we now find out Pete Carmichael is going to join Joe Brady, but Davis Webb has taken his name out of the Raiders' consideration. I won't be surprised, and this is what everyone is expecting will happen. And I don't know if it was 100% Sean's idea, but Davis is going to call plays here if he ends up being hired as the OC, which we expect will happen. They're going to interview where they've talked with Ronald Curry. They have to obviously go through the process and talk to a number of candidates. But what do you think about Sean? And Joe Lombardi's quote to the Denver Gazette was, well, Sean was in one of those moods.
Yeah, because, Lombardi, that's one of his guys. Pete, that's one of his guys. Addison, I think Addison coached me with the Saints. So Addison is a Saint guy. Who else did you say got let go? Was it those
Kerry
three?
Kerry Colbert because of the drops. And Sean said, I've always been taught that you catch the ball with your thumbs together unless it's below your waist. And I can distinctly remember one or two times Troy Franklin and Evan Ingram, I don't think they're coached like this, but trying to catch an out route like that. And I was like, your hands turn, right? That's what I tell my kids. My kid's 7.
Yeah, those are pretty good big moves for Sean Payton. Those are his buddies. So when you fire your buddies, that can get a kind of little shaky right there. I see it as Davis Webb. He's getting a lot of attention, a lot of head coaching interviews. So Sean Payton's getting ahead of it and trying to move this guy up the totem pole. Right, that's what that looks like. He's trying to save him from being stolen and probably keep him as the OC. Now, Sean Payton giving up the OC plays. Nah, I don't see that happening. This guy, that's something that Sean Payton loves to do. It has to get really, really bad for him to give up the play calls. Addison, Addison, I thought he was a solid coach, solid DB coach. When he was with the Saints. Shoot, I'm better than him, though.
Do you want me to?
I'm better than Addison.
Does Vance want to? Do you think Vance wants to bring you in to be a secondary coach?
I mean, I think he definitely, if Jim Leonard definitely leaves, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad option for sure. But or maybe Jimmy takes me with him. You never know. But
are you in a hurry to move to Buffalo, or would you maybe at least consider Baltimore?
I could do Buffalo for like a year or two.
Okay.
Because I got Josh Allen, so I could.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, well, get a hold of Jim, and I guess maybe reach out to Vance because it doesn't look like Vance is going to be getting either the couple remaining jobs in Vegas or Arizona. I honestly think, and because we heard Joe Brady, Ian Rappaport reported that Joe Brady had been offered to come here and potentially call plays. I don't know if Sean's doing it totally willingly, but this is why you have a boss. And if Greg Penner's like, look, if this kid is this hot of a candidate, we shouldn't lose him to the Raiders. I'm not saying the Raiders may not trend up, but they haven't been for a while, and it's gonna kill us if he becomes the next Sean McVay. And so I wonder if Sean, in an effort to save himself, is like, okay, we're gonna let Davis call plays, and I'm gonna turn into Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick and really manage everything, even though his identity is tied to calling plays. That it's self-preservation to some degree. It's going to be fascinating to see. Let's spend a minute or two and hop inside Chris Harris Jr.'s film room and look back at a couple plays from the AFC Championship game. All right, we obviously cover the 4th and 1 play, but we'll look at a couple of things that stood out. And the one that you tweeted about the most, I'm guessing you're starting with the Hufanga. Oh, J-Mac, that's how you play a screen, huh?
Perfect, man. If you go inside, you got to make it. And I thought he played great. He had a great season. Improved this year from last year. Heard the talking, and that guy earning his money, man. So hopefully he gets a nice little pay raise soon for sure.
Yeah, I mean that is textbook, and then they obviously swarm to it. All right,
what I would say is wrap them legs, man.
Yeah, right.
Wrap up.
This is the one I know bothers you.
This one should be an interception, pick 6, walking into the end zone.
Diggs does hit the ball.
Nah, because you see him go inside and push in. He doesn't have to do that. All he has to do is go straight back. If he goes straight back, he doesn't have to touch anybody. It's a pick 6 all day. right?
Right.
Watch him go inside with the tight end. He doesn't
Even
have
though he
to
knows
do
he has
that.
all those linebackers there.
Yeah, just go straight back. He's not going to see you. You got a pure interception. Go straight back. That going in right inside, he still should have intercepted the ball, right? Come forward now. He should have been coming forward now, breaking. But see, he's not looking. He looked at the quarterback as slightly too late, and that caused him to, get the PBU. But it still hit his hands, man. I'm not trying to hear that. This guy should have had at least 15 picks this year.
The criticism or the
I
saying
love
for
him, though.
most
He's a great player.
defensive players, especially defensive backs, when they drop a pass, is like, well, that's why they play defense. Never has there been a player in the NFL that was more perfect for defense, for the hitting and the tackling and not the catching of the football, it appears, than Talanoa Hufanga, because he is a tone setter. He's a second team All-Pro, and he had about 10, 15 picks that were just left out there. He's not even looking for the ball some of the time. Like, he is just looking to hit people, and ball hits him. You're like, oh, that could have been a pick. But
bro and the thing is, with the 49ers, he used to get picks. I never thought he had bad hands with the 49ers.
How about the technique here from PS2?
Oh, that was great. Being able to, if we could go back and start from the up front, being able to get on the line, press the guy, run step for step with this guy.
Booty wasn't kind of hitting his arm. Does he pick it off maybe? Look at Booty kind of hit his left arm.
Oh, let me see.
Or he's kind of pulling on him, and then right there, I don't know.
Nah, that's a tough pick right there.
Odell Beckham it.
Yeah, right there. You just got to knock it down. It's tough.
Yeah, right. You don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, if it's a jump ball type fade, then maybe Pat can go pick that off. But that's a kind of a leading fade. That's what I would call it, a leading fade. Where I got to run and kind of try to dive and extend and go get it. But a jump ball fade, you can kind of come back and go up and use your vert. But that was a great job squeezing him to the sideline, playing the ball with his front hand. Reason why we say play the ball with your right hand, your inside hand right there, is because if he does miss it, he could be able to try to make the tackle on it. So Pat does perfect technique. He's a technician, and you knew that they were going to try him. He's going to be in zero. He's going to be a man a lot of times in this game. And, he did his job. He was great in the run defense too.
Yeah. Yeah, and you saw him even a little, like, maybe shaking up a little because he's having to stick his head in there on Stevenson a bunch, but he finished the game, and certainly would have been great to see him playing his first Super Bowl.
Tackling with Pat. Pat is going to have to revamp his tackling a little bit because he keeps getting a lot of those stingers.
Yeah.
And that just comes from tackling form. So if he just learns how to, tackle and not take the punishment, right, then he should be able to stay healthy. But Drake killed us all day running with his legs.
65 yards. It's funny. People said he had more opportunities to run the ball than he even took.
65 yards are huge.
Yeah.
You think about in this game, yards is at a premium, points at a premium. This guy scrambled for key first downs.
He's got a slide on that last one. That's where Hufanga, I think, hurt his shoulder. They're not worried about it. Vrabel said his left shoulder hurts. And then this, he said he called himself. Was not the play call. Play was supposed to go to Stevenson, and he keeps it himself and beats Jonah Ellis to the edge.
Yeah, that's a clutch play. And, where is 15 at? It's crucial for first down or fourth down or third down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, third down, right. Why isn't
our prime player, $100 million player, is not on the field?
Yeah.
I could have definitely chased him down.
Yeah.
And been out. I don't know if he would have. Well, yeah, I think he would have chased him down. They would have to punt the ball. So
and the Broncos get the ball back. Not that you were overly enthused about what the Broncos would do with no timeouts and having to go 70 yards or 50 to get in the field goal.
I mean, you get another chance at it. Maybe third time's a charm, and maybe they, Lutz is able to knock it down. But you got to have, there's no way, your high-priced player is not in on crucial downs like that. So
yeah, it feels like a miss. Although I think Benito was a little shaken up in the game at points. We saw him on the sideline, although I don't know if he ever went in the blue tent. All right, well, that'll do it for our final trip inside the film rooms that relates to the Broncos games. Not that we won't get back into it throughout the offseason, but ultimately the Patriots go ahead there. So final playoff trip and Broncos trip of the season into the film room. Want to thank our friends at Furniture Row for hooking up the sweet studio furniture, which whenever you see our wide shots, whenever there's more than one host in here, you can really see how great the stuff that our friends at Furniture Row have given us. So if you want to, I'm sure they've got, big sales coming up with President's Day just around the corner. Maybe you need a new couch for Super Bowl Sunday. Swing on by and check out Furniture Row. All right, Chris, let me get a final thought from you. I'll obviously join you next week. I'll be in San Fran for Super Bowl 60, and we'll see if we can find some of your old friends to stop by and talk with us during the show. But initial thought as Seahawks are holding between 4.5, 5.5 point favorites.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to beat Seattle. They're loaded. And Darnold is playing great right now. JSN has been unguardable. Cooper Kupp is staying hot. And that defense, when you look at the corners, the safeties, linebackers, D-line, all the way around, they have it. And so the Patriots are going to have to bring their A game. The Patriots do have a great defense, but I don't think they have enough offense to be able to, threaten the Seattle Seahawks.
All right. I'm right there with you. I like them to cover big. When I think it's 12-2. Teams are 12-2 against the spreads like the Patriots and 4.5 points or more. I think this will be the third time a team covers the spread. I think I'm going to go on the small side of it. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe Vrabel and Josh have something to show us, or maybe they make Darnold's life a long day and Ken Walker a solo show without Charbonnet. We'll see, but we will talk about it. I'll be in the Bay Area. You will still be down there in Dallas getting kids ready for the draft and ready for get back on the college field and high school fields. So until you join either Jim Leonard's staff or come here and join VJ's staff next year. And then we can do the show in studio every week. All right. He's Chris Harris. I'm BK. It's been Football Fridays. Thanks, David, for helping us out. And we will catch you next week from San Francisco.